Welcome back to the deep dive. So, today we're wrestling with a challenge that, it really defines parenting, teaching, and honestly, our whole society.
It's a big one.
How do we instill genuine moral values in children? And we're not just talking about, teaching them a list of rules.
No, this is about translating abstract ideas into deeply integrated behavior. It's that classic gap, isn't it? The space between what we say and what we actually do.
Exactly. And the source material we're looking at today, this really profound framework from Vijnanamitra, it offers a radical shift in how we think about this.
It really does. It flips the whole script on accountability.
It does. If value education is failing, Vijnanamitra basically says, look, it's not the kid. It's that the entire environment, led by the adults, is, well, fundamentally disorganized.
Right. And that's our mission for this deep dive, to unpack this idea that getting kids to practice values requires this complete synchronization.
Between the three key parties, right?
Yeah. Parents, teachers, and the children themselves. And it all starts with the adults. The core prerequisite Vijnanamitra lays out is it's just stunningly demanding.
It is.
For any of this to work, parents and teachers must first put those values into practice themselves. They have this term for it, acharanalopitali. It essentially means it must be lived. The burden of proof is entirely on the instructor.
That is a massive paradigm shift. It stops asking, is the curriculum good enough, and starts asking, are we? Are the adults qualified to even teach this?
Exactly.
So let's dive into that, this idea of qualification, because it seems to be the engine of their whole integrated program.
It is. It connects the instruction in school with what's actually happening, at home and in the classroom. It's the ultimate form of leading by example.
So the program is designed to enforce a kind of absolute integrity among the adults.
Yes, because they know the kids are constantly, relentlessly watching. They're the real audience.
Okay, let's use a really common example, anger management.
A classic, yeah.
We instruct children, on how to handle anger. We tell them, acknowledge the feeling, take a pause, calm down before you react. That's the lesson plan.
But then the problem arises the moment the child leaves that lesson. They go home or they see their teacher in a stressful situation, and what happens?
Right.
If the parent or the teacher frequently loses their temper, if they yell or react impulsively, Vijnanamitra argues something essential is just lost.
What's lost?
The adults lose the qualification, they lose the right to instruct children not to be angry.
Wow. That concept, losing the right to teach, that's incredibly powerful. It's not just about, being a little hypocritical.
No, it's much stronger than that. It's about nullifying your own moral authority through your actions.
So if I, as a parent, preach patience, but then I have a meltdown over spilled milk, I've basically just revoked my own license to teach patience.
Precisely. The philosophy uses the term aratha, which means the right or the fitness to describe this. If your actions contradict your words, the words just become hollow.
And the child sees that disconnect instantly.
Instantly. And that reality, your impulsive behavior, that becomes the real lesson. It's behavior transfer, not knowledge transfer.
I do have to push back a little on this, though. Demanding perfection from adults, that seems like an impossibly high bar, right? What about mistakes? We all mess up.
And that's a crucial question. The philosophy isn't necessarily demanding perfection in every single moment. It's about consistency and a sincere effort.
Okay.
If an adult is actively working on it, if they mess up, acknowledge it, and try to recover, the child sees that effort. And that itself is a valuable lesson.
Ah, I see.
But if the anger is a pattern, if it's the standard way the adult operates, then the lessons are meaningless. The system demands that the teacher be the primary student.
That makes the distinction much clearer. It's about modeling the process, not just the perfect finished product.
Exactly. As long as you're visibly trying to practice what you preach, you retain your aratha. The moment you give up on the practice, you surrender the right.
So if this qualification all hinges on modeling the behavior, where does the environment fit in? This brings us to the second pillar, building a peaceful ecosystem.
Right.
Vijnanamitra insists that the home should be a temple, a devalayam, and the school also has to be a devalayam.
It's such a powerful metaphor, and it goes so much deeper than just, being tidy. The point of calling these spaces temples is to create an atmosphere of deep serenity.
A sanctity.
Yes, a sanctity, an emotional environment that is consistently peaceful.
And the why behind that is critical, isn't it? Why does the atmosphere matter so much?
Because children are environmental sponges. When they're in a consistently serene atmosphere, both at school and at home, they can stay calm. Their development can just proceed peacefully.
So that calmness is the foundation for everything else.
It's the foundational condition for internalizing values. You simply cannot teach the value of peace in an environment of constant stress and chaos.
It's like the environment is the silent partner in the curriculum.
It is.
If the home is full of arguments and stress and rushing around, values like patience are just. They're undermined before the lesson even starts. The environment itself is teaching tension.
Precisely. The philosophy is saying if you want a child's default state to be peace, you have to make peace the default state of their surroundings. It's about structural design, not just external rules.
Okay, let's move to the practical tools here.
Yeah.
Because I really appreciate that Vijnanamitra doesn't just stop at be nice or don't be angry.
No, it gets very specific. It provides actionable insights into the causes of these emotions. A behavioral diagnosis.
And that's where it gets really useful for the learner, right? It's not just the symptom, it's the root cause.
Exactly. Vijnanamitra identifies 2 specific core causes of anger that they teach children to recognize.
And what are those 2 causes?
The first one is simple. A stubborn insistence on getting a specific object. That rigid, unyielding feeling of, I want this toy right now and I must have it. It's object attachment.
Which is the classic toddler meltdown. But it also applies to adults wanting a specific promotion or a specific car.
Absolutely. It's about inflexibility rooted in material desire. And the second cause is more psychological.
Okay.
It's the stubborn insistence that one's own word or viewpoint must win. That feeling of I must win this argument or my way is the only right way.
Ego attachment.
Ego attachment or attachment to an outcome.
Yes. You know, those 2 things, material attachment and ego attachment, that probably accounts for, what, 90% of all conflict in the world?
It covers a lot of ground.
So if those are the causes, the remedy has to go deeper than just, breathing exercise. It has to address the desire itself.
It requires a profound philosophical shift. You have to remove the strong attachments and aversions. The instruction is to avoid strong, rigid desire or attachment. They call it ragam towards anything.
And the opposite.
And similarly, to avoid strong hatred or aversion, which is dvesham.
So the goal isn't to suppress the tantrum after it's already started. It's to prevent the formation of the rigid desire that triggers the tantrum in the first place.
Yeah.
You're trying to neutralize the emotional trigger.
Exactly. When you eliminate ragam, that intense, non-negotiable desire, you eliminate the anger that comes when it's blocked. And when you eliminate dvesham, that intense hatred, you eliminate the frustration when you're forced to face something you despise.
And Vijnanamitra is saying that children can actually understand this deep philosophical concept of managing attachment and aversion.
They argue yes, absolutely, because you frame it around those 2 very practical causes, objects and opinions.
It becomes concrete for them.
Very concrete. Instead of saying be more spiritual, you're saying, hey, don't insist so rigidly on getting that one blue truck, or it's okay if your friend wants to play a different game. You're giving them an internal tool set, not just external rules.
That feels like the aha moment of this whole philosophy. It diagnoses the internal struggle and gives the child the actual vocabulary, ragam and dvesham, to understand and address it.
It elevates the whole conversation. It's not about discipline anymore. It's about genuine self-awareness. You're teaching them the mechanics of their own frustration.
Which brings us full circle back to the children's role and how you even measure success in a program like this.
Right. Back to that constant observation.
The kids are the ultimate auditors, aren't they? They're monitoring how parents act at home and how teachers act in school.
And that leads directly to the ultimate metric of success. The key question, according to the source, is not how many lessons did we teach?
No.
It's how much have we, as a collective, implemented? That implementation rate is the only critical measure of success.
It's the ultimate feedback loop. If the parents and teachers are modeling ragam and dvesham in their own lives, constantly chasing wealth or hating on certain groups,
And the instruction fails. It doesn't matter how well written the curriculum is. The knowledge transfer is useless if the adults aren't living it.
so that synchronization is completely non-negotiable.
Absolutely. True success, achieving the intended result, what the philosophy calls phalitani and dukogalam, is only possible when all 3 parties
The children, parents, and teachers.
synchronize and operate according to a unified plan, a pranalika.
It sounds like a kind of societal contract. The adults have to agree to live under the same ethical roof as the children they're raising.
That's a great way to put it. The child is just there to watch and make sure the adults are being honest brokers of the values they're selling.
And that's really the key takeaway, isn't it? Fujinamitra's goal is to provide value-oriented subjects with a truly practical focus. It has to translate directly into life.
Yes, and the success of the lesson is measured by the change in behavior of all three groups. If the environment and the instructors are out of sync, the whole system just collapses.
So we've seen today how effective value education, according to this really demanding philosophy, relies less on lectures and more on intentional environmental design, that devalayam, and this profound personal accountability from the adults, making sure they actually have the aratha, the right to teach.
And this deep dive focused on anger, attachment, regem, and aversion, dvesham. If we accept the central premise that we lose the right to teach values when we fail to model them, it raises a pretty potent question for you, the listener.
The question for your own life, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're a parent, a teacher, a manager, anyone in a position of influence.
Indeed. Think about the values you say you champion. Patience, objectivity, collaboration, whatever they are. Which of your practice behaviors right now might be disqualifying you from successfully guiding others?
And crucially,
Think about those three parties, the learner, the instructor, and the environment in your own world. How often are they truly operating according to that unified plan, that pranalika? Because until they are, the intended result, the internalization of genuine value, it just remains out of reach.